cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife, leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed, and welcome to Sim Racers World TV. Welcome to another round of the Sim Stickers Simracers World Formula 3 series here in 2021. This is season 4 of the championship, and we're here for the final race meeting of the second set of playoffs. This is rounds 10B, 11B, and 12B. This is the final chance for a lot of these drivers to improve on their current scores that they have on the doors. It's not going to be an easy night for a lot of them. Everybody trying to get the most out of these playoffs before we head to the finals, which is going to be starting next week on the 25th of November. My name is Chaz Draycott. I'm going to be your solo broadcaster and commentator for this evening's action, and we have always seen a lot of fun here at Spa Francorchamps from this series, so I cannot wait to see how everybody gets on. Looking at the standings, it's Bart Daleman that is top of the precision class at the moment, absolutely dominating with 6 wins to his name. We have Alex Jonsson second from Mark Fletcher in third. The two flying at altitude with Alcantech drivers doing really well. Of course, it's their first actual attempt at getting a score this second set of playoffs. The team was basically formed before playoff B kicked in. Kevin Zemstra, despite a disastrous season, somehow is fourth ahead of Ross Nicholson and Rhys Saunders. Tobias Olsen on 70 points is the real talking point of these playoffs so far. Dominicas Javaiša is 8th ahead of James Forsyth with Miguel Freitas in 10th. Then in the consistency class, Ben Hoffman, 3 wins to his name. Obviously a model of consistency as he is ahead of Vic de Blick, who has 5 wins to his name, 143 points for Vic. Then it's Tim Rutten, Wayne Palmer and Hansi is in 5th place. He has got 1 point to try and get over Wayne Palmer. Then it's Carl Newen in 6th, ahead of Ryan Mikulev, Stephen DeWolf, Philip Russell and Taylor Lane. In the academy class, it is Jakub Szymanski and Stephen Grabowski. The two of them have been right at the top all throughout the season, and they remain that way for now. 4 wins to Jakub, 2 wins to Stephen. Adam Oshiawala has a win as well, and is 19 points back, with Craig Schill and Phil Reagan filling the next 2 spaces. Then it's Greg Parmenter, Robert Odoms, Daniele Giudici and Louis Correa. Matthias Groen not getting any points so far these playoffs. And then the final standings to take a look at, of course, the team's standings. Flying at altitude with Alcantech, 2 drivers 2nd and 3rd overall, really doing an incredible job at the moment. XZ Racing Red, the next team up. The only ones really that can challenge them as things stand. And then it's Sim Stickers, Simracersworld Esports and XZ Racing Orange rounding out your top 5. Then it's the 2 Alcantech teams, Nyman Racing and SimLab I should say. Then it's Team Mad, Team Year 1 and Team Year 1 Racing rounding out your top 10. So let's look at some race cars, shall we? Let's see what is going on track at the moment. It is currently Alex Jonsson who is fastest and at the very top of the timings at the moment. He did message me just before the broadcast went live saying I'm going to open up the racing driver's book of excuses. He said he's just very tired today. He's just said it in different words, and he said please be kind. But it's the 2 super Swedes at the top, Alex Jonsson and Tobias Olsen, both in of course Alcantech liveries. Silas Craig Vrolik is next up in a Dutch pairing with Kevin Zemstra in 4th. So Alcantech cars 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Technically Mark Fletcher is also an Alcantech car flying at altitude with Alcantech, his team name. And then Ross Nicholson is in 6th for Sim Stickers. Oh, and he loops it on the exit of Les Combes. Long spin for him. Tim Rutten is currently fastest at the moment in the consistency class, ahead of Hans Pullmans, about 0.3 of a second between them. And Jakub Szymanski still using the 1998 Minardi livery on his car, is currently fastest in academy. Now, it's worth mentioning that the conditions, as you can see here, are very dark at the moment. It's not really looking that tasty out there, as Tobias Olsen has gone fastest in precision. But these conditions certainly looking like a challenge for the drivers tonight. Very gloomy here in the Ardennes. Here's Nick Sherman's, currently 10th at the moment. Not quite sure what the livery is all about. I'm sure that will update in time. Pretty sure it's supposed to be the Simracersworld car. Dominicas Javaiša hasn't put a time in yet. Here's Mark Van Dalen for Team Year 1. His car also not showing a livery at the moment, so we'll get those 2 refresh. There's Craig Schill. He's now taking part for Sim Stickers Racing, but their fastest driver is Ross Nicholson currently. Ross on his way down to Blanchimont. Let's show you how these cars go through there. 245, nearly 250 kilometres an hour, and they are flat to the floor through there. Ross slowing down early though, I think maybe just setting himself up for another lap. This is qualifying Look at that, he's taking a nice wide run. Currently 7th, just under half a second off the fastest time. Into La Source he goes, tucks it in nicely. You can use some of the runoff on the exit, but not too much of it. You might spin up the rear wheels there. These cars will be spinning a lot out of the first corner. It's very, very difficult. Eau Rouge, let's remember that it looks like this because pretty soon it will not. Anybody that's been keeping up with motorsport news of any kind will see that there have been changes made to Eau Rouge, and there's a lot of tests being done at the moment to make sure that that corner remains safe. Down the incredibly long Kennel Straight. Hard onto the brakes. Into Les Combes. Carry a lot of the speed. Yep, I know about the livery change, Paul. I will have it updated soon. It seems like Trading Paints hadn't updated all the liveries, so apologies for that, mate. But that will be changed, and we'll have a look at a sec. Dan Brochet towards Jackie X Corner. Used to be No Name, but now it is Jackie X Corner, using a lot of the runoff there is Ross. I want to just point out that the nose of this car looks damaged as well. There's a lot of scrape marks down it. Looks like the vinyl's been chipped, the very pretty Sim Stickers vinyl. But you get that a lot in these cars. It seems like any strike of a curb does that, which is a real shame. Makes all the cars look a bit tatty. Into Piff Paff. One of the most ridiculously named corners on the international racing scene. Hard onto the brakes again. Very difficult section of the circuit to get right here. You've got basically double right-handers, but the car just feels different in each one of them because of how it undulates. And hard on the power. Doesn't really feel like you can do much in these cars. Once you have got them up to speed, you know, they don't accelerate an incredible amount up here. Flat out through Blanchimont again, nice and smooth. Oh, there's Ross's livery updating. And then into the bus stop chicane, hard on the brakes. As late as you dare, turn it in, careful of the car over-rotating as it climbs the hill. It's a very steep pair of corners. And then onto the power, straight line it to the finish line. And that's a lap around Spa Francorchamps. And Ross Nicholson goes 4th fastest. Good stuff by Ross. Tim Rutten still remains to be fastest in the consistency class, and Jakub Szymanski still fastest in Academy. Greg Parmenter is another one of the Sim Stickers cars out there tonight. They've got a number of them. They've got Greg, Craig Schill, Ross Nicholson and Wayne Palmer. The Sim Stickers Racing and then Sim Stickers as the two different teams. Wayne Palmer in the consistency class, which is the bright green highlighted class, which matches his wheels. Down the hill he goes. Ben Hoffman not having the best of qualifying sessions so far. We know how fast Ben is. He's fantastic in race pace. I think that's where Ben's strengths really come true. As Tobias Olsen goes even quicker by nearly another 0.2 of a second. Incredible time at 2:09.7. Across the line goes Ben Hoffman. Does he improve? He did a couple of personal best sectors. He does. He improves and goes to 12th. So he's ahead of Wayne Palmer now. Not the massive improvement he would have hoped for, but still. Some improvement is better than none. Here is Craig Schill. And the beautiful orange Sim Stickers racing machine. Now, I've been told he won't be scoring points for the team as he's changed midway through the season. Even still, the car looks absolutely wonderful. Looks very much like a Simracersworld esports car, I must admit, boys. Craig just trying to find the limits there. Speaking of beautiful orange cars, Adam Osceola making his way around in the XZ Racing orange machine. Only 22 cars in the server at the moment, so the participation unfortunately has died down, but there's still a lot of drivers out there fighting for points in the playoffs. I think a number of them know that their sort of challenge for their respective titles has died off maybe, and now they just wait for the finals. Still good to see Silas Kragvrolic up there. He's gone second fastest. Good to see Kevin Zemstra with us as well, because the two of them had an absolute nightmare at the Hungaro Ring last time out. There were a few drivers that had a very, very rough meeting, and we'll be hoping for better things tonight. Less than a minute left of the qualifying now then. And there's some last-ditch efforts by the drivers to get times on the board. And don't forget, we're using heat racing in this first session of the night, so as soon as that timer hits 20 minutes, it's over. So I'm not even sure that Mark Fletcher will get around a lap here. In fact, I'm pretty adamant that he won't. Kevin Zemstra is going to be on the cusp as well. Bart Daleman might even be on that as well. He's got 6 wins in the B playoffs. He's got 20 seconds to get to the line. Is he going to make this work, is Bart Daleman? Sounded like a bit of a lift there, not quite sure why. Maybe... is he out of fuel? Is he running it really low on fuel? Yeah, it sounds to me like he's really ran it low on fuel. And that is the end of the session then. So we will have our first grid of the night instantly upon us then, everybody. Tobias Olsen takes pole position from Silas Kragvrolic. Alex Jonsson and Bart Daleman make up row 2. Ross Nicholson and Tim Rutten, look at that, 6th overall. Fastest inconsistency. Kevin Zemstra and Mark Fletcher on row 4, ahead of Ben Hoffman and Hans Polmans, making it an all-consistency row 5. Nick Shermans and Mark Van Dalen round up your top 12. Then it's Wayne Palmer and Jakub Szymanski, fastest in the Academy class. Then it's Carl Newman and Stephen Grabowski. Craig Schill alongside Phil Reagan, with Greg Parmenter and Robert Odoms on the 10th row of the grid. Adam Osiowala and Dominikas Javaisha round out our field. Wonderful shot here down the straight towards turn 1. As the cameras then show us some of the wonderful scenic views here. And I've been told, actually, apologies, Paul, I was not told that was the full name. I'm not even sure that's all going to fit on the overlay, but we'll give it a try, mate. Marshall's on tour, powered by Sim Stickers. I like it. It's the longest team name on the grid, and I'm pretty adamant that it will not fit. Let's see if we can see all of it. Well, there you go. And again, we're waiting for the Swedes at the front here. Sebastian Heber in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope you are well. Everybody now just about to finish gridding up. We just wait for Tobias and Alex. And they will pop onto the grid within the next 10 seconds. There's one. Boop. And there's 2. Boop. Right then. It's all Alcantech, 1, 2, 3 at the front of the grid. All in different teams, though, respectively. Let's see how they get on, then. 7 laps of Spa Francorchamps, and the first heat of the night is underway. Looks like a very even start from pretty much everybody in the field. Nice and tidy. Nice and tidy. That's a very... oh, hello. Very, very wide there. I think it was Silas Kragvrolic. Tim Rutten trying to gain a place. I think, actually, has Silas had a slowdown? Looks like it. He's not going to get caught up by anybody else, is he? As they go up, Rouge and Radion. Oh, but look at this. Silas is going very slowly indeed. Now, I'm not sure if he's got some sort of other issue there, but that is not a car that is behaving itself. Either that or not a driver that's behaving himself. I can't remember whether it was Silas or whether it's Kevin that had said that having issues with their foot cramping up on the brakes, whether he's gone straight on. Oh, there's a car around and it's Hans Polmans. No, it's not, it's Ben Hoffman. Apologies, I thought it was one of the Flemish cars. Ben Hoffman somehow not collected by anybody else. Tobias Olsen leads this race. Alex Jonsson second, then Bart Daleman, then Ross Nicholson, Kevin Zemstra and Mark Fletcher. Just behind Tim Rutten leads the consistency class for now. He's got his teammate Mark Van Dalen behind him. Jakub Szymanski leading in Academy ahead of Stephen Grabowski. Those two glued together on track once again. Zemstra, for some reason, is now gained a lot of positions on everybody. Not quite sure what happened there. Now, just as they run down back towards Blanchimont now, everybody in one big queue. Tobias at the front of it. Alex Jonsson trying to hold off Bart Daleman. Bart's going to try everything he can to sneak through. And we've got on the wrong camera there because Bart's behind. Oh, we've got cars around. Carn Newen. And oh, even more cars off. Is that Wayne Palmer? Wayne Palmer is around. Who's that stuck in there with him? Oh, it's Dominikas Javaisha. Adam Osiowala's been off the track. Mark Fletcher's had an issue as well. Let's have a look. So Silas has overtaken Stephen Grabowski, who's looped it. And Mark's done it all on his own. Mark's had a spin. Wayne Palmer and Javaisha have come together separately. Wow, let's have a look back at this then. So Dominikas side by side with Palmer. Oh, the two of them just sort of gravitated towards each other there. It wasn't quite like Palmer turned in on him. They barely had a chance to even sort out an overlap. Now there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the middle of the field here. Now is that going to work? That's one of the Alcantech cars in the middle. Sim Stickers car in there as well of Greg Parmenter. It's Kevin Zemstra making up ground once again from the middle of the field. So what was it that happened with Kevin Zemstra early on? I really don't know. Tim Rutten still leading consistency then. 5th place overall. It's going well for him so far. He's got his teammate behind him in the other Year 1 machine. It's Mark van Dalen, but he's in the precision class, you see, so he's going to want to be right up there. But still, Tim Rutten doing a fantastic job this season. We've seen continuous improvement from Tim, and he can now fight with the best of them near the front of the field. Now we do need to go to this, which is Greg Parmenter, and in fact we should probably go even further back to Craig Schill, because he's got Ben Hoffman and Stephen Grabowski right behind him, trying to make their way through. This is the Marshals on Tour, powered by Sim Stickers. The Marshal on the circuit tonight is Craig Schill. They're very close together through Blanchimont. Hard onto the brakes they go. Looks like Jakub Szymanski's had an issue, and he has had a spin into the chicane, and now he's going to wait for the whole field to go past him before he can get going again. That's a real shame for Mr. Szymanski. But out in front, Tobias Olsen leading the way with quite the gap as well. 1.7 seconds over Bart Delman and Alex Jonsson. Into Les Combes they go. Down the hill again. It's just very, very tidy, isn't it? Just watching the way that Olsen's car moves around. He just manages the entire vehicle really well, and someone that's managing it really well at the moment, to be honest with you, is the man just behind him, Alex Jonsson, who looks back with Bart Delman chasing. He's the rear gunner at the moment for these two Alcantech machines. Obviously, in this championship, they're racing in different teams. Alex Jonsson is flying at altitude with Alcantech. Tobias Olsen is Alcantech NHR by SimLab. So they are racing for different teams, despite racing for the same team. Look at the way that Bart closes and closes. Still nothing doing though. He just cannot fight it yet, can Bart. It just seems like that last tenth or so just isn't there. Now in the background there's certainly a tenth or two here. Silas Kragvrolic now ahead of Hans Polmans, who leads the consistency class. Tim Rutten down the inside. So this is for the lead in class right now. Adam Osiowala and Carn Newen, who are both teammates, have had an issue further back, but we need to keep an eye on this because this is the consistency class lead. Rutten side by side with Hans Polmans. Hansi tries to hang it round the outside at his home circuit. But Rutten has done the job. Tim Rutten had a humongous accident with Jack Werrell up the hill a few seasons ago. Now look at this, 3 wide. Polmans on the outside. Craig Vrolik in the middle. Nearly contact between the 3. Hansi gets hung out to dry. Nick Shermans is in there as well. He's going to go down the inside. But Hansi hangs it against him as well. It's the 2 Dutchies that have got away from the 2 Belgians here. And Silas Craig Vrolik flings it back down the inside of Tim Rutten once again. These 2 sticking together. If you told Tim a few seasons ago that he'd be able to fight it out with Silas Craig Vrolik, he would have told you to go away, in different words. But Tim, ever improving, always fighting, but Silas goes through down the inside into Pouon. Great racing, as we always get in this championship. Now typically, as soon as we've looked away from Bart Delman, he has taken 2nd place. So we need to try and see where that happened. This is where he overtook Alex Johnson down the back straight. Oh, very close to making contact there as they came onto the Kemmel. But luckily, they got away with it. Now, Hansi looking racy here. He can see that there's a chance of taking the class lead and taking another class win. He's got 1 this season. You can hear them bouncing off the limiter. Tim Rutten's a bit late on the brakes, goes down the inside of Silas Craig Vrolik. Is that going to cause any issues? Oh, it's just going to help Hans Polmans through. Look at that. Very opportune stuff. Tobias Olsen, fastest lap of the race, a 2:09.9. Let's not forget he did a 2:08.7, I think it was, in qualifying. But still. Oh, Polmans tries the cutback. There's nothing there, though. Can't quite get the car looped in underneath. He doesn't want to risk running into the back of Tim Rutten, so he backs out of it slightly. Tucks into the slipstream, though. He knows he's going to get a lot of assistance as they go up Eau Rouge to Radion. Down the Kemmel straight. Tim's going to get some slipstream off Silas as well. Tim's obviously going to go left. Now, where's Hansi going to go? Don't go through the middle, son. Don't go... Hansi. We need to put him on a lead. Goes through, though, down the inside is Laycom. Does he get it stopped? Yes, he does. Hans Polmans. Get in, son. What a fantastic move. Could have said it was too risky, but still gets it done for now. Now, where's Tim Rutten going to go in all of this? Because if Silas attacks Tim right now, that's going to be dream scenario for Hans Polmans, because it means that he's going to have a number of cars between him and his consistency class rival. But right now, Tim's got his work cut out, because Silas is all over him. Down to Pouon they go. And Silas is through right now. Nick Shermans has got a fantastic view of this going on in front of him as we ride on board with him now. Into Piff Paff. Round the outside goes Silas. Lovely. Lovely move. Seems like Nick's car not quite behaving itself as intended. Seems like he's taking it quite reserved at the moment. Seems to be going very easy on that engine, especially when it comes to the revs and the change downs. Phil Reagan, by the way, gaining 6 places overall in this race, leads the Academy class. Fantastic stuff by Phil. He's got a car between him and 2nd place in class, which is this man, Stephen Grabowski. Just behind him, Robert Odoms is having to defend from Craig Schill. That's the XZ Racing Neon car. And the Marshalls on tour, powered by Sim Stickers machine. Oh, that looked like a little bit of contact there as they go through Blanchimont. Down the hill we go again with this battle then. Look at the way that Hansi's just got this sorted. Mark Fletcher has got involved in this very suddenly. He's come out of nowhere to bounce back through this. He passed Nick Shermans only about 20 seconds ago. And suddenly Mark, after getting in front of Tim Rutten, gets slipstreamed by him again. Just cuts in front. Manages to hold on to the place. Bart Delman and Alex Jonsson have been swapping places again as well. We'll ride on board with Mark for a moment, and just you'll see now as Hansi defends from Silas Kragvolik, how quickly that gap will change. And whether Mark will have a chance of catching up with 1 lap to go after this. Silas down the inside, has to back out of it. But look now, Mark starting to reel them in bit by bit. Into the chicane. Oh, big wobble there from Silas, and that's opened up things. That's opened the account for Fletcher now. Can he take 2 positions from 2 in this? And pop himself just outside the top 5. He's had some great points so far in the B playoffs. Hans Polman still leads consistency though. Doing a very, very good job. He's going to be loving this at the moment, and so are his fan club. Look at that through Blanchimont. Very intense through there. Hard onto the brakes, into the bus stop. Oh, Hansi's overdone it. Does Silas get him on a cutback? He does. That was a beautiful one as well from Silas. Nicely calculated. Hansi doesn't need to fight them too hard right now. He just needs to let Mark go. He can just sit behind them now, although he says, stuff it, it'll go down the inside. Now, has Mark tucked into the slipstream of Silas there? He certainly has, but look, he has to back out of it. He's lifting off the throttle. Where is Hansi in all of this? He's right behind. Mark wants a big slipstream from this though, but he's not going to get one here. He's not going to have much of a overspeed. Now he plants his foot. Where's Hansi? There he is. He's not going to make another move 3 wide in this situation, is he? He's earlier on the brakes. Mark's around the outside into Lecombe, but he's going to be on the inside for the second part. That is lovely. Lovely stuff. But Silas Kragvolik hangs it down the outside. Just about misses out on that, but wow, what fantastic commitment that was by Silas. The Dutchman doing an amazing job of that. And now suddenly this train of cars is 5 long and Fletcher is at the front of it. Polman still leads consistency, but at the very top of the race is Tobias Olsen. He started here and he's going to finish there, all being well. He's had a few moments this season where he's thrown it off the road. He's had a few nightmare races. Hungaroring was not his finest hour. But right now he's on his way to a very convincing victory. 4.6 seconds to the good over stablemate Alex Jonsson. You'll see him just in the background there. He's got Bart Delman and Ross Nicholson for company actually. We should probably have a look at that. Ross all over the back of Bart. Only a couple of corners left to go then. Through Blanchimont they go. But into the final corners. Put your hands together for Tobias Olsen. A dominant performance as we expected to see in the A playoffs. Olsen wins. Jonsson's going to be second, just beating Bart Delman to the line. Is Ross Nicholson going to be there as well? Yes, he is, but only in 4th. Mark van Dalen started 12th on the grid, finishes 5th. What a drive. And Silas Kragvolik has had Mark Fletcher at the end of the race. And Hans Polmans takes the win in consistency. Tim Rutten and Ben Hoffman will round out the podium in that class. And Phil Reagan is going to take the win in Academy. Craig Schill's going to get 2nd place. Or is he? Runs a little bit wide on the exit. Jakub Szymanski is going to be 3rd, but it's Tobias Olsen that takes your win. Fantastic first race of the night. Very entertaining. Lots going on. And now the drivers just having a bit of chill out at the end of the race. It's a fun time for the drivers after a race like this. They get to wind down for a minute, maybe have a bit of shenanigans. I was racing in a touring car league last night, and once we'd finished, it was just a case of everybody smashing into each other. But the drivers being a bit more respectful here. A lot of them use direct drive wheels and so on with a lot of power in them, so you can even injure each other's wrists. Here's Craig Schill and Jakub Szymanski getting very close together. 2nd and 3rd, they just finished in their class. But Hans Polmans takes a consistency class win. Phil Reagan takes an Academy class win. And Tobias Olsen wins the race overall. So now we have a quick warm-up session. And in said session, which will only be about 3 minutes, we will take a quick look at the race results from that one. Olsen wins the race then by nearly 5 seconds from Alex Jonsson, with Bart Daleman rounding out your podium. Ross Nicholson just behind, less than a tenth of a second between the two. Mark van Dalen finishes 5th, a great drive from him from 12th on the grid. Silas Kragvrolic just about beats Mark Fletcher to the line. That was a great battle between those two, with Hans Polmans winning the consistency class. Then it's Nick Sherman's in 9th ahead of Tim Rutten, who rounds out your top 10. Kevin Zemstra 11th and Ben Hoffman in 12th. He gets a podium in class. Then behind them, it's the entire podium of the Academy class. Phil Reagan, Craig Schill and Jakub Szymanski. Dominika Strzowajcia from the back of the grid, despite his incident, finishes 16th ahead of Robert Odoms and Greg Parmenter. With Stephen Grabowski, Khan Newen and Wayne Palmer, the last guys on the lead lap. Adam Osceola is classified, but 1 lap down. We look now at Craig Schill, who is just taking the car out during warm-up, just to get a couple of laps in. Craig, to be fair to him, I have to give him a hand for his commitment. He is always the driver that goes out when we have these warm-up breaks on a broadcast and provides a little bit of the entertainment, so there's cars on screen. I'm very grateful for it. He's a great guy, is Craig. Really nice lad. And a marshal for motorsport in the real world as well. He's marshalled at Alton Park and I believe Donington and Silverstone as well. And there you go. Before you know it, warm-up is over. So his car will now disappear in 3, 2, 1. Go. Oh, I was a little bit wide of the mark there, to be fair, wasn't I? And there you hear the session tick over, you hear the crowd noise change, and we will be ready for the second race of the night. Tobias Olsen and Alex Jonsson on the front row, then Bart Daleman and Ross Nicholson on row 2, ahead of Mark van Dalen, Silas Kragvrolic, Mark Fletcher, and then your consistency class winner, Hans Polmans. Nick Shermans and Tim Rutten round out your 10. We'll filter through the rest, because in this race they tend to get to the grid a lot quicker. Only 2 grid screens for today, 22 cars, as mentioned before. Well, certainly no lack of action, as you saw in that first race. Tobias Olsen and Alex Jonsson still going to be the last 2 to make it to the grid. Not sure what it is about Swedish culture that makes them that way, but either way, they both pop onto the grid now, and the green lights will come on any second. Either that or the red ones will, if Chaz gets the colour right. I'm not colourblind, I promise. So, race 2 of the night then, round 11B of the championship gets underway very quickly here from Spa, and that's a poor start by Alex Jonsson and Tobias Olsen. The two of them get caught napping by Bart Daleman. Bart scoots through the middle, runs a little bit deep into turn 1, and Alex Jonsson has hit Tobias Olsen. Up on 2 wheels it goes. I'm not sure what that broke, but look at Mark van Dalen. He's gained 3 places already. Flying up through the field, Tim Rutten's gained 4 spots. He now leads the consistency class. Bart Daleman, I think, has got a slowdown or something. Car off, Tobias Olsen. That car is not driving straight. There's a big pack of cars together in the middle here. Let's see what shenanigans goes on. Nearly 2 Alcantec cars running into each other. That's Bart Daleman with a slowdown. Going very slowly. Lovely chopper cam here. Catches Jakub Szymanski. Craig Schill 3 wide in the middle there as well. Looks like everybody making it through. Oh, there's a car off. It's Bart Daleman. Bart's off. He comes back on. Doesn't get caught by Adam Osceola, luckily, but it's all a bit messy. Going down the hill they go. Stephen Grabowski leads the way in his class, and Nick Shermans has put it off as well. Wow, lively opening half a lap. As I say, that is only half a lap as well. Jakub Szymanski's got a hell of a defensive job on his hands. He's got Schill, Newen, Reagan, Odoms and Palmer behind him. And that's him not doing a great job of holding off Craig Schill. Craig to his left-hand side. Through he goes, does he? No, nearly contact. Mark van Dalen, though, leads this race. The Dutchman, 4 places gained off the start. Mark Fletcher behind him has gained 5. Ross Nicholson's just gained the 1 after starting 4th. Be interesting to see how this looks from Mark Fletcher's point of view. So look at the car on the very far left. Sorry, on the front row. A little bit of wheel spin there from Alex Johnson. Tobias Olsen didn't get a good getaway either. Can't cover Bart Daleman. Johnson turns in very deep, hits Tobias. Up on 2 wheels he goes. That must have been a scary moment for Fletcher, thinking, right, where's that going to end up? We now go past Tobias Olsen, who's got damage. Bart Daleman's got a slow down, and then that's it. Tobias's car is not turning, it's not behaving itself. And that was that. So, Nicholson third. Silas Kragvrolic, then Alex Johnson. Hans Polmans has got back into the lead of the consistency class. Tim Rutten and Ben Hoffman second and third. Stephen Grabowski, 8 places gained from 19th on the grid in 1 lap. Leads the academy class. Fantastic stuff by Stephen. The American on a real mission right now. And Fletcher has taken the lead. But Tobias Olsen and Bart Daleman, the 2 drivers that are in the pits at the moment, absolutely devastating. And to be fair, they're right. They're side by side as they come out of the pits. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. These 2 going hammer and tongs. They came together at Hungaroring. Who's going to give in here? I think Bart's lifted slightly just to let him have it, but then he's going to have the slipstream down the straight. That's epic. That's for 21st position after both of them were off at the start of the race. We'll see how this goes down the Kemmel straight into Les Combes. Hard onto the brakes, into the chicane. And Bart still tries to hang it around the outside. Tobias keeps on the inside and he stays in front for now. Mark Fletcher, though, leads this race overall. And to be fair, looking at the initial lap times, obviously it's only the first lap of the race. Get your words out, Chaz. So it's not too much of an indication. We'll see what the pace looks like after this one. Here's Hans Polmans. There is the gap back to Ben Hoffman, second in this class. These 2 once again fighting for supremacy in the green-banded class, let's call them. Stephen Grabowski's not too far off the back of that either, in what looks like a Cuda e-motorsport car. Jakub Szymanski just behind him. Mark van Dalen is now in a fight with Ross Nicholson. These 2 glued together. I think Mark overdid it a little bit into La Source, and that's let Mark get away there. Well, both of them called Mark, aren't they? Now look at this. Van Dalen's got nothing that he can do with Ross Nicholson, who's about to come through as well. There he is. Now, where's the third car in this equation? Which is Silas Kragvrolic. He's now side by side with Ross into Les Combes. Oh, just cuts the nose off Ross Nicholson there. And Ross has had a bit of contact this season with Alcantec cars, specifically the Dutch ones of Silas Kragvrolic and Kevin Zemstra. Kevin, by the way, 9th place at the moment, just ahead of Dominikas Jovaisha, who has had a great race so far. 6 places gained for him. Biggest mover still, Stephen Grabowski. Mark Fletcher's also gained 6 places, I should say that, to be in the lead. So he's gained the 6 most important ones, you could argue. This is going on a bit further back. Some shenanigans here. Ex-teammates Ben Hoffman and Tim Rutten. Ben used to drive for Year One Racing, now part of XZ. And that's Kevin Zemstra trying to come through as well. The 2 Dutchmen side by side. Still side by side. Kevin looking down the inside. Tim just gives him enough room. No, he doesn't. Tiniest of touches. Kevin's sideways. Sorry, Tim's sideways. Hangs onto it. Oh, and you know what? Oh, boys. Oh, for God's sake, boys. They're having a bit of fun further down the order, and now they've had an accident. Oh, that's nearly an accident. Nicholson into the back of Silas Kragvrolic. That'll go down like a cup of cold sick. Oh, and so that. Ross Nicholson spins it. Ross overdoes it. He was hard on the brakes, just gave a little tap to the back of Silas Kragvrolic. And that was that. Down the hill goes Fletcher, though. 1.8 seconds to the good now. Suddenly Alex Johnson is back in this race here because he is getting close to being in slipstreaming range of Mark van Dalen. Oh, Tim Rutten, Carn Newen, a few of them are off. And the exit of La Source, Craig Schill involved in that. Let's have a look what happened here. So Craig, Tim Rutten behind him. Oh, Craig's off the road. Oh, just comes back on. Oh, absolutely clatters in to Tim Rutten. Not sure whether he lost the back end of the car or what, whether it was just a little bit careless from Schill as he came back through. This battle's still going on. You've got to love this one. This is Ben Hoffman and Hans Polmans fighting for another win in the consistency class. Two very, very accomplished drivers in this championship in their respective classes. Ben always very quick in his usual Sebastian Vettel helmet. We always do see that Ben doesn't qualify too tremendously, but then gets further and further up the order as the night goes on. His racecraft much, much more amazing to watch. Hansi continuously improving in this car though, getting better and better each season. Climbing around behind him at the minute. See, look, the damage has disappeared now he's hit that curb. It's the curb of replenishment on the way up to Blanchimont. We'll be coming on to lap 5 out of 7 shortly. Now look at the slipstream there from Hansi. He has to lift off through Blanchimont as to not go into the back of Ben Hoffman. They move around a little bit just to put pressure on each other. Hansi's a little bit later on the brakes, a little bit softer on the brakes. But Ben holds on for now. Kevin Zemstra goes deep. Can Shavajsha get a cutback on him? Maybe. The Lithuanian all over the place trying to get through. Just behind them is Stephen Grabowski. He's got a good view of this, leading the academy class. Looked like he was going a little bit too hot into La Source there. Down the hill now. Shavajsha tucked right in the slipstream. No, Kevin Zemstra tries it at a Rouge. You don't often see that. Normally you just wait until they get down the straight. There's no way through there, Dominicas. Polmans has just taken the lead in the consistency class, as you might have seen it change at the top of your screen. Still this fight goes on between Zemstra and Shavajsha. Zemstra holding on. Wow, that was close. I think there was contact. That would have wakened Kevin up a little bit. Down the inside, Grabowski's overdone it. Grabowski's around. Loses the class lead. Gets out of the way quickly. Now Hans Polmans has gained his class lead. We saw him do it down the straight. Nice, simple move. Let's see what happened to Grabowski then. Did he just go in a little bit too hot behind these guys? He did. Slams on the brakes, locks up the rear axle. And around it goes. He's lucky not to get collected by anybody. Stays out of the way as he comes back on as well. That is a real shame for Grabowski. He's had a very up and down season, to be fair. He's taken some wins in his class, but then a lot of other times he's been in the wrong place at the wrong time and been caught up in incidents that weren't really anything to do with him when they started. Hoffman 6th, still stuck behind Hans Polmans. Show you how the field has spread out at the moment. You can see Craig Schill a long way back, unfortunately, in 22nd place. But we look at this battle for the consistency class lead. Good awareness by Hansi there to get out of that. Doesn't light up the rears on the AstroTurf. Oh, there's been a car around there as well. Is that Zemstra? It is. Kevin Zemstra's been around. Stephen Grabowski's had another issue. Here's what happened to Zemstra. Oh, he's looped it completely in the bus stop. And then just takes it slow coming back on. And Grabowski's been around on. He's been hit. Grabowski hit in the front left there by somebody. I think that may have been Osiawala. Tim Rutten's also in the pits, actually, for Team Year 1, so not quite sure what's happened to him. Anyway, we go back to these pair. Oh, brilliant. Behind the trees they go. Ben Hoffman in the lead of consistency. Hans Polmans says, no, not in your life. Now tries to get a cutback again. Hansi, wonderful stuff. Goes to the right-hand side. Both these drivers, great to watch. Into Brichet. Still, Hoffman hangs it around the outside, down into Jackie Ick's corner. He's going to have the inside line, but a tighter line. Hansi's going to move out to his left. And down towards Pouon, he's going to have the inside line, but I don't think he's got an overlap. Might be a tiny one. Not quite. Hoffman carries the speed through there. Nice stuff. Fantastic battling from these guys. Would hate it to end in tears. Would hate to see it end in tears, I should say. As Hoffman having a bit of a minute there. They've got to be careful, these guys, because they've got the very feisty Ross Nicholson and Dominik Astrovaisha just behind them. Two of the feistiest guys in the league. And you really wouldn't want them to come in and spoil the party. One more lap to go then for Mark Fletcher. He is 1.1 seconds out in front of Silas Kragvrolic. I would argue that Silas could get a bit of slipstream from that distance. Across the line goes Mark then to start this last lap. Can Hansi get anything done in the bus stop? He needs to wait till the Kemmel straight, really. Oh, there's a scary little moment there. Now let's look at this. I don't think Silas can do anything from there. It's about 1.5 seconds now, actually. I don't think he is close enough to get any sort of advantage on Fletcher from any sort of slipstream or anything there, really. Looks like Mark's got this done at the moment. Very tidy drive from him. 6 places gained, 7th on the grid after spinning in the first race to come back through. He did his usual and he messaged me again before this evening. He said, don't expect me to be anywhere tonight in the sprint. Maybe the feature. So he wasn't lying. This is the feature, effectively. The feature, though, really is the last race of the night. Hoffman and Polmans side by side again. Polmans now with Ross Nicholson all over his backside, moving one way then the other. Ross is going to want to come through. Dominikas is going to want to come through and help his teammate Ben Hoffman here. But look at that. Hansi round the outside of Brichet. Doesn't quite keep it there. Puts his nose down the inside to Jackie Ick's. Nothing there either. Runs very wide on the exit. Still, it doesn't lose him too much ground. But Hoffman doing everything right at the minute to get this class win. Mark Fletcher's gap has come down to about a second here, but you could argue that he'd take it easy on this last lap knowing how much time he's got. Still, Hoffman holds on. Hansi goes deep. He's let Ross Nicholson through. He's also had Dominikas go through as well. He needs to just concede there now, I think, does Hansi. But into the last couple of corners, put your hands together again, please, because Mark Fletcher from 7th on the grid takes the win in the second race of the night. Silas Kragvrolic takes a very well-earned second place. Alex Jonsson rounds out your podium. Ben Hoffman is going to win the consistency class, just denying Hans Polmans a class win. Although Hansi's going to try and have Dominik Astrovaisha at the line. Don't think he's going to get that done. Jakub Szymanski in the 98 Minardi is going to win in Academy ahead of Wayne Palmer, who is in 3rd in consistency. 10 places gained for Wayne, biggest mover in the field. Phil Reagan 2nd in class, Robert Odoms in 3rd in class. Sounds like someone was doing some sort of donuts down there. I think maybe Ross Nicholson. Nope. Oh, hello. Dominikas there deciding that he doesn't want the front wing for the final race of the night. And I think it was Mark Van Dalen that was doing the donuts down there. Wonderful celebratory moment there from Mr. Van Dalen. But the second race of the night already done with. That certainly flew by, didn't it, everybody? We'll wait to get our race results in just a second. We'll look at them, and then we will be taking a quick break just before we come back for the final race of the night. Still have just one car to finish, which is Craig Schill. And we will have the results up now for you. So Mark Fletcher takes the win, just under a second ahead of Silas Craig-Rowlick, with Alex Johnson third. Mark Van Dalen finishes fourth for Year 1, with Ben Hoffman, ex-Year 1 driver, in fifth. Then it's Ross Nicholson ahead of Dominikas Zawaisha. Hans Polman's second in consistency ahead of Kevin Zemstra, ninth overall. Then it's Jakub Szymanski, who wins Academy, with Wayne Palmer rounding out the consistency class podium. Second and third in Academy is Phil Reagan and Robert Odoms, 12th and 13th overall. Adam Wilder 14th, Greg Parmenter in 15th, with Khan Newen in 16th. Then it's Tobias Olsen and Bart Daleman. They were classified despite their incident partway through the race. Then it's Nick Sherman's 19th, Tim Rutten 20th, Craig Schill and Stephen Grabowski round out your field. So it's that time of day, everybody, where we're just going to take a quick break here on Sim Racers World TV. And I, Chaz Draycott, will be back with you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Black and white, just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. It's black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott here on Sim Racers World TV for the Sim Stickers Sim Racers World Formula 3 series. We're here at Spa Francorchamps for rounds 10B, 11B and 12B. This next race will be the last one in any of the playoffs this season and the last one in Playoff B. So this is the last chance for drivers to score good points and to put themselves in the best position possible for the finals of this championship. Just to update you then, as we go into the last two rounds, or the last four rounds I should say, last two meetings, the last four races of the season. Race 1 is going to be determined by the reverse championship standings, and race 2 by the results of race 1. That's going to be starting from next week here on Sim Racers World TV. You won't want to miss it, it's bound to be an absolute corker. We've got Bart Daleman out on track at the moment, or we should have. No, we have Silas Craig-Rollick off the track. Tim Rutten is on it at least. He's still driving on the bit that he's supposed to drive on. Now a much longer race this time. I believe it's going to be either 12 or 13 laps as Tim Rutten's gone off where Silas just went off as well. Craig Schill, as I mentioned before, doing us proud, putting a car on the road and giving us something to watch. Yes, Mark Fletcher thought there was only 2 races tonight. I'm not quite sure why. So Mark was about to end his stream and was waiting for an interview after that previous race. So GG Mark. Somebody had to remind him that there is a third race and that he's got to race it. So we move. Anyway, only a couple more minutes of warm-up left to go. Hans Polmans is blaming me for commentators cursing him, which I completely deny, Your Honour. Either way, give it a minute or so, and we will be all good to go for the final race of the night. Just to point out as well, of course, we do have another qualifying session just about to start, but this is going to be lone qualifying, so nobody working together with their teammates, as we see Tim Rutten on the back of his teammate. On board here with Craig Schill. We'll go back to Tim Rutten though, just have a look here. I think that's Mark van Dalen in front of him. No Reece Saunders tonight, which is interesting. Reece has been one of the quickest in the series all the way through, but unfortunately not with us this evening. Looks like we have all 22 cars back in the session and ready to go. So any moment now we will be going to qualifying for the final time in all of the playoffs this season, in Season 4 of the Sim Stickers Sim Racers World Formula 3 series. It's been a hell of a season so far, very exciting indeed. Poor Bart Daleman and his point system. We've had a lot of different formats in this championship. Last season's, I must say, has been my favourite so far, with the heat racing system. Drivers having to try and make it through one of 2 heats and then get through the consolation if not, and then into the final. It was incredible racing. Absolutely mind-blowing entertainment as well. So we have literally 30 seconds. And the next and final qualifying session will be underway. Practice actually finished 30 seconds early, so the cars will disappear any second now. And give us a name in chat. First name that anyone types in chat we will watch for this session. We'll go on board with as well and see exactly how they do. Pop a name in chat, everybody. We'll see who we get. It's currently on Tim Rutten. We're still with Rutten. All the drivers will be out on circuit on their own, so nobody else to help them. And nobody to get in their way as well, importantly. So this is all down to raw single lap pace from these drivers. Now, no comments have come in, so I'm going to make an executive decision, and we're going to watch Nick Sherman's here, despite the fact that the spec map annoys me because he's clearly got the old spec map on it. Either that or I've still got the old spec map on my PC, or he hasn't updated his. Not sure what, but we'll ride on board with Nick because he's always been there or thereabouts in the championship so far. He's not been at every race meeting, but he's another one that is continuously improving in the Sim Racers World esports group. There's only 10 minutes of qualifying to do as well. That's not very long at Spa Francorchamps, where it's over 2 minutes a lap. These cars just a bit quicker than GT3 cars around here, which says a lot considering the power difference between these things. It shows you a lot of the cornering capabilities that these cars have. I mean, look at this here, through the right-hander, nearly 200 kilometers an hour before they make the big run up towards Blanchimont, even uphill, still accelerating past 230, changing up to 6th gear, 240, 245, no, there's 245 as it levels off a bit at Blanchimont, nearly 250 there for Nick Sherman's. 247 before he hits the brakes into the bus stop. Nicely judged there with the curb. Doesn't use a wider runoff, just wants to get a clean banker lap in. Starting his fast lap now. Down towards La Source. Does go quite steeply uphill. Hard onto the brakes. It's like a big bowl on the inside of La Source. Tries to drag you in. Careful that the car doesn't unload itself. A little bit of a slide on the exit for Nick. Hard on that throttle down the hill towards Eau Rouge. As I said at the top of the broadcast, remember what it looks like now because it's going to change. Eau Rouge, Radion, one of the most legendary corners in the world. Down the Kemmel Straight. Feels like it lasts forever in these cars, doesn't it? Lecom through Malmedy. Misses the apex quite a bit there, does Nick? Has to back out a bit. Hard onto the brakes again. Brochet, bottom of the hill. He's hesitant on the throttle there as well. The car seemingly pushing wide on exit through Jackie X corner. Keeps 2 wheels on the curb, so I'm pretty sure he's got away with that one. i.e. hasn't given him an incident point and hasn't invalidated his lap time. Number of drivers getting purple sectors. Tobias Olsen, Mark Fletcher, Silas Craig Vrolik, Alex Jonsson, all sharing purple sectors. Here comes Nick then into the final couple of corners, up towards Blanchimont once again. He'll be pushing that throttle so hard it'll be poking out of the nose of this Formula 3 car. The wonderful Dallara. Chucks it left, hard as you like. And then hard onto the brakes into the bus stop. Takes a bit of the sausage curb to begin with. Jonsson does a 210. Olsen does a 210. Might have to reload the overlay, sorry, because it's just stacking everybody up. There you go, Rutten. Sherman's faster than Pullman's at the moment. Sherman's does a 211.4 on his first time. Bart Daleman goes third fastest with a 210.5. Fletcher goes fourth fastest. Craig Schill, the only one in Academy at the moment to put a time on the board. Have to see how everybody does in relation to him, but Tobias Olsen once again, after winning the first race of the night but then having an issue with his teammate out of all people at the start of the second race. A bit of an up and down night once again for him, but he scored an unbelievable amount of points in the first set of playoffs, so he will be very happy taking a chunk of points into the final races of the season, hoping to go for that overall championship. But the reverse grids there are going to be an incredible spectacle. Really something to behold, I'm sure. Through Piff Paff goes Tobias Olsson again. His car just always looks like it turns in a little bit and then sort of floats through the corner, and he just manages it. There's a few drivers that seem to chuck this car in differently. A lot of them very smooth with their inputs. Tobias looks like one of these drivers that pitches it in as hard as he can and can then just manage it through the corner. You can see there's 9/10 of a second between precision and consistency's best times. And then there's another 1.3 seconds back to the Academy cars. That's Craig Schill, fastest in that class at the minute, 12th place. Into the bus stop once more goes Tobias Olsson. You can see he's setting himself up for a fast final lap now. Now, we're not on a heat racing format for this second session of the night, so it doesn't end the session instantly at the 10-minute mark from what I remember, as Alex Johnson goes fastest, 2 minutes 10.1. Now that to me was Tobias running a bit too wide. Through Eau Rouge he goes. And look at that, Fletcher, 36 thousandths of a second, beats his teammate Alex Johnson. Great stuff by Mark. Very close to outdoing the track limits for a second there. We've got a number of drivers that still haven't put laps in here. Robert Odoms is one of them. Ross Nicholson, Stephen Grabowski, Adam Ossioala, Khan Newen. Silas Craig Vrolik has gone fastest now. 13 thousandths of a second this time. Half a tenth covers the top three. I still do think that Silas's lid, when he comes towards you, looks like David Perrell's. But brilliant stuff by Silas. 2 minutes 10.09. Hans Polmans is fastest in consistency currently, ahead of Tim Rutten. Just a tenth of a second, sorry, a hundredth of a second between those two. And then Stephen Grabowski, the fastest Academy class driver at the moment. Oh, and he puts it around and it's in the wall hard. Well, it's easy to do that when the car goes one way then the other. Really washes the weight one way then the other. And Grabowski certainly messing that one up there. Well, this is Tim Rutten, second in his class at the moment. Again, as mentioned before, Ben Hoffman is not always the best in qualifying, but in the race, I'd argue that Ben's going to come through to take another class win here, but it depends on what Tim and Hansi can do to defend from him. We've got just over, or just under, a minute and a half of this session left. And look at that. Alex Johnson fastest. Tobias Olsson says no. 3 tenths quicker by Tobias Olsson. That is a ridiculous fast time. 2:09.7. Sherman's is 5th. Where is Ben Hoffman going to end up after that mistake? He goes fastest in consistency. Fair play to Ben Hoffman. Craig Schill, I believe, did not improve. No, he did improve that time round, actually. That's his personal best. Ross Nicholson goes 12th. Jakub Szymanski crashed on pretty much every lap, so couldn't put another one in. Didn't have the time. Khan Newen has gone off at Lake Com as well, so that's him done. Silas Craig Vrolik, 11 thousandths of a second, beats Tobias Olsson to it in the dying moments of the session. Amazing stuff by Silas. GG, Sunshine. GG. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Silas Craig Vrolik. Take a bow, son. Only 8 seconds left. I don't think anybody's going to complete a lap. No, nobody's close to the end. So that's going to be that. And it does make them disappear pretty much instantly. That's very intriguing. I didn't realise that. So, final grid of the night then. Silas Craig Vrolik by 10 thousandths of a second from Tobias Olsson. Alex Johnson and Mark Fletcher make up row 2. Then it's Nick Sherman's alongside Kevin Zemstra. with Bart Daleman and Ben Hoffman on row 4. Dominicas Gervais and Mark Van Dalen on row 5, with Hans Polmans and Tim Rutten on row 6. Ross Nicholson is then 13th ahead of Wayne Palmer, with Stephen Grabowski and Phil Reagan the fastest two in Academy, ahead of Craig Schill and Adam Osiowala. Then it's Carl Newen and Robert Odoms just behind them. And then at the back of the grid, Jakub Szymanski and Greg Parmenter round out your field. So, a longer race this time, more laps involved, and of course the mandatory pit stop. What can you expect from this one, everybody? Place your bets. Let us know in the chat who you are rooting for, who you think could come out on top here. Alex Johnson onto the grid a lot earlier than we normally see him. Tobias Olsen and Silas Kragvrolic are two front row starters. Still not there. Bart Daleman in 7th is one that I'm very surprised by. He's got a lot more real estate between him and the front of the grid than he normally has. And after that previous race, I can imagine that Bart not too impressed. So let's see how he gets on. But Silas takes his place at the front of the grid. And the final race of the night, and the final race of Playoff B, and the last playoff of the season is underway. Nice launch by Bart Daleman. Nick Shermans moves over to get out of the way of his teammate. Looks like a good launch from Silas Kragvrolic. Tobias Olsen attacks as he goes into La Source. Can't make anything of it. Looks like they're all behaving themselves. Bart Daleman already 2 places gained up to 5th. Great start. And what can he do about some slipstreaming? Mark Van Dalen's gained 2 places. Ben Hoffman's gone backwards a little bit, but he still leads the consistency class. Now look at this at the front. That is Silas Kragvrolic under attack from Tobias Olsen and Alex Johnson. The Alcantech boys 3 wide into Le Com, and it's Tobias Olsen that turns in and takes the cake. Oh, I think there was a bit of netcode there between Silas and Alex Johnson. Bart Daleman goes wide to avoid him. He's slow on the exit of Malmedy, and the pole sitter is dropping places. Needs to get back in a rhythm now. He's got Bart on his left. Doesn't want to fight too hard at this point. He wants to keep the clean air and move forward. Oh, Mark Fletcher's put it in the wall. Mark Fletcher's off big time. And Silas is around. Silas has done it. That's going to cause a big pile-up. He's come back into the middle. Bart Daleman's involved. Year 1 car's involved in that as well. Stephen Grabowski's off. Massive, massive accident. And even at the back of the grid, is that Greg Parmenter? He's lost his rear wing on the way into the corner. And that is a very sorry sight. Silas Kragvrolic started on pole, and it's the 2 Super Swedes at the front right now that have taken the advantage. Let's have a look then. So it was Mark Fletcher that initially went off, hit the wall backwards. Silas, I think, did Van Dalen smack into the back of Bart Daleman? If we just go on slow-mo of this, I don't think we're going to get the view that we want, really. I think that, to be fair, the best thing to do is if we go further back than that. So this is Mark going off the road. He loses it, hits the wall. Mark Van Dalen sees Mark go off. Silas loses it. Mark tries to make it through the incident, smacks into Bart Daleman, and it's Bart's car coming back across that is the real... Oh, and even further down the hill. Bart can't do anything to get it stopped. So Silas on the outside. Silas loses it in avoidance of Mark on the grass. Bart goes left, hits by Dalen. That flings him. Oh, that's a sickening impact. He then bounces off Ross Nicholson's car. They all make it through the incident and get going, but Bart's car is just veering right as hard as it can. He even clips... Is that Phil Reagan there? In the neon car. Wow. Well, that's certainly a way to shake it up. We've got 7 cars in the pits currently, or at least 7 cars not where they were. Silas Kragvrolic, Greg Parmenter, Mark Fletcher, Kevin Zemstra, Bart Daleman, Ross Nicholson and Robert Odoms. There's a lot of championship protagonists in that. And everybody else continuing, making it through the accident. Well, that's certainly one way to do it. It was a real shame by Mark. He was just pushing that little bit too hard on the opening lap. Greg Parmenter has had another issue in trying to recover. The back end of that car absolutely broken. He's going to hit the sausage curb, and look at it. It does not want to work at all, does it? Manages to crawl it back to the pits, but with no rear wing, these things are pretty useless. Wayne Palmer now attacking Ben Hoffman. And this is another situation that we get in this championship where drivers, they sort of lose time to one another, and then these gaps open up, and then suddenly the battles start again. They all have what I call the accordion effect, where they all close up to each other, then it opens up again, and then they close up again. Hans Polmans has gained 6 places in this race. He currently leads the consistency class, as you see at the top of your screen. Olsen leads overall. Craig Schill, after gaining 8 spots, is currently the head of the academy field. Jakub Szymanski is 10th. 11 places gained for him, so a great drive for him so far. Biggest mover in our field. I'll show you the gains and losses on the left-hand side. Obviously the early incident helping a lot of drivers in this case. Wayne Palmer and Tim Rutten fighting together once again. Both of them in the consistency class, fighting for the final podium spot in that class at the minute. But it's Tobias Olsen, Alex Jonsson and Dominicas Javaisha, considering that he started at the back of the field in the first race of the night. Came through, got a top 10 in race 2. And he's qualified 9th on the grid for this one. And is currently on for a podium in the final race of the evening. That is some good going by Dominicas. Got Nick Sherman's just about a second behind him. Nick trying to close in at the moment, but not able to negate that gap completely. Tobias Olsen, fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 9.7. Polman's 2.2 seconds behind Sherman's that we were riding on board with there. Now Craig Schill has got Jakub Szymanski closing in on him bit by bit here. Jakub, we know, is fast. And he is within slipstreaming range of the current class leader in the Marshalls on Tour powered by Sim Stickers car. Change of livery, change of team name for Craig in this round. Look at this though from Jakub. This is going to be the 12th place that he gains in this race if he does it. Nice simple straight line run down the straight in front of him. Tim Rutten and Wayne Palmer fighting together as well. That's nice and straightforward by both of them. Tim now gains his 5th place of the race. And what can Stephen Grabowski do to try and overtake Craig Schill? We saw him have a few moments in qualifying. There's only one car that's out of the race at the moment, and that is Ross Nicholson. Mark Fletcher is going, albeit a lap down. That is Hans Polmans in front of him in 5th place, so Mark is in amongst the traffic for now. He'll be very frustrated, not just for causing the incident and other cars having to take avoiding action and have their own accidents, but the fact that he made that mistake in the first place. Mark will be kicking himself for that one. This man won't be kicking himself though. Tobias Olsen started 2nd on the grid, made a really nice start. Still, as Craig Rowlett got caught up in the accident, that took him out of contention, and it's Alex Jonsson behind him So 2 Alcantech cars at the front. One of them may be Alcantech with SimLab, and the other one might be Alcantech, well, flying at altitude with Alcantech. But still, same livery, same stable effectively. They've got 5.8 seconds over Dominika Szawajcia, so they can quite easily overfuel by a little bit just to play it safe here at Spa. You are on the throttle quite a lot, so you will need a lot of fuel here. And this is Craig Schill, who needs more fuel, captain, to get past Stephen Grabowski. No, Stephen's lost it. I could see that coming as well. No offence to Stephen, but just the way the car ran wide, lit up the rears on the exit. Oh, it's such a shame. Now I wonder what damage that's given Craig Schill. I'll have a look. I think it's bent the wing in, yeah, front left and right actually. We'll keep on with Craig, see how it behaves itself through Rouge and Radion. Oh, that smells like understeer to me, and he'll have got a slowdown for that as well. That's devastating. Absolutely devastating for Craig Schill. Such an innocent moment to be a part of. And suddenly, the race is ruined. So it's a little bit spread out at the moment here. At least a second between every car except these two. And then Adam Ossioala and Khan Newen, which are 2 teammates at XZ Racing Orange. Albeit in different classes. Adam is in the Academy class, Khan Newen in the Consistency class. They're making their way around the final section of the lap now. .8 of a second between those two. This is getting closer and closer though. After Tim Rutten got past Wayne Palmer, Wayne has not really stuck with him, but I feel that now he's starting to just reel him back in ever so slightly. We'll check what the lap times are as they cross the line. 2:10.4 for Rutten, 2:10.5 for Palmer, so actually 1/10 of a second slower overall there. Using just the right amount of runoff on the exit of the corner. And Stephen Grabowski has come into the pits, so he's obviously had damage from that incident with Craig. Craig continuing on. I think Craig just dealing with the understeer at this point. Nearly halfway through this race already, nearly on lap 7 of the 14. Tobias Olsen still leads convincingly at the front of the pack. Doing a mega job so far. No one can really come near him, to be honest. Alex Jonsson still holding on. He's had a good season so far. Alex joined as part of the B playoffs. Started halfway through the season teaming up with Mark Fletcher, the flying at altitude with Alcantech team. They've both been very rapid indeed, and of course lead the team's championship at the moment. Khan Newen is getting closer and closer to Adam Ossioala right now. They were teammates last season and they're teammates again now. In some of the very bright and colourful and wonderfully exciting designs that you see on the XZ Racing cars by Phil Reagan, who at the moment is 14th in the XZ Racing Neon car. We just watch him make his way around the circuit at the moment. It all seems plain sailing. As, into the pits then. Adam Ossioala, one of the first ones to blink, tries potentially an undercut on a few others, but there's no one really that close to him, so maybe he's just decided that he wants to get the pit stop done out of the way a lap earlier than everyone else. Robert Odoms has just gone off the road. He's having some sort of hardware issue, or some sort of issue anyway. Craig Shell goes through past Adam Ossioala. And to be fair, there were that many people off the road that I don't think Adam's actually going to lose that many places. This car going through, that's going to be Mark van Dalen. He goes around the outside of La Source. He's going to get the run down the hill on Adam, surely. Or is he actually? Oh, that's going to be tight. Mark goes through. Adam decides not to fight it too much. Puts him offline though through Eau Rouge and Radion, so that's not going to help him out much. And this is Palmer still trying to chase down Tim Rutten. But right now he's got Ben Hoffman 0.7 of a second behind him. Just up there in the distance at Pouan. Through Piff Paff they go. That's one of the most difficult parts of the circuit to get right in these cars, because there's such a massive weight transfer from the right to the left, and then the car going over the crest of the hill. It can really kick out quite a lot, especially when you're on the power on the exit of that corner, and if you are running wide you put that little bit more lock on. Just over rotate the back end of the car and it will step out, and it'll step out on you before you've even realised as well. It's not easy. Dominikas Javajsha is in. The Lithuanian driver makes his way into the pits. He was hidden behind the wall there for a second, so forgive me. Hans Polmans leads the consistency class from Tim Rutten. 7 places gained for both of them. Jakub Szymanski gains his 13th place of the race as he goes past Dominikas, who's in the pits. Show you the pit stops on the left-hand side of your screen. Now, there will be a lot of drivers further down that have made a mandatory stop. That was, of course, for the damages earlier. That will be Kevin Zemstra, Bart Daleman, Robert Odoms and Mark Fletcher that have done that. And Wayne Palmer being overtaken now by Ben Hoffman. Ben has made his advances very quickly indeed. Goes one way then the other. Ben decides that he's going to try and defend the inside line for that bit. Wayne running a little bit deep there. Maybe the tyre's not behaving as he wants. As he goes through Lecom and then Malmedy. Just looks a little bit understeery through there. But Hoffman is through. And he's now going to go chasing down Tim Rutten. He's 3rd in class at the moment, is Ben. 2 guys in front of him. And we've seen him battle with both of them so far this evening. Apologies, just had to adjust my headset there. Just had a bit of a weird moment. Tobias Olsen, though, looking very supreme right now. This is what we saw of him in the A playoffs, and in doing this, you know, he's scoring points that other drivers can't score in these playoffs. So what he's doing, you would think initially, as he scored a massive amount of points in the A playoffs and is not really anywhere too important in the B playoffs, you'd think, well, what's the point? But if he's winning races and he's right at the top of the standings, they're a big chunk of points that his rivals aren't going to score. So he's taking points away from them by doing this. Looks like everyone is going to pit now at the end of lap 9, because that's just about when the fuel will go to. So we look at Dominikas Javajsha to see whereabouts he will come out. So you want to look at the faint blue number 1, which is here on the map, in the bottom right there with a red ring around it. And we look at Dominikas just coming through the bus stop, and look at that. He's not going to be anywhere near Tobias Olsen. Tobias already on his way out and down the hill. Absolutely dominant by Tobias Olsen. And Alex Jonsson second as well. Nick Shermans is just in front at the moment. No, it's not going to stick. Hans Polmans retains the lead in his class. Ben Hoffman is ahead of Tim Rutten. Ben was in the pits for just 0.2 of a second less, but his entire time down the pit lane was nearly 2 seconds quicker. So again, Ben on the move. in this race. So that's just about everybody stopped now then. And we've only got the 4 precision cars at the front of the field, really. Then we've got Van Dalen just inside the top 10. Jakub Szymanski has gained 12 places in this race so far. He's having a fantastic run in the 1998 Minardi liveried car. Gotta love that. One of the best looking cars ever in Formula 1. He makes his way down the hill. Mark Van Dalen in the background. He's one of the drivers that got caught up in that initial incident. Hoffman down through Pouon with Tim Rutten behind. Half a second between the two. Tim's starting to close in a little bit, actually. Is he going to just unease Ben a little bit? But 5 seconds up the road is this man, Hans Polmans. And the beautiful Flemish Sim Sports machine, the Viraco branding down the side. Adam Osirwala is currently second in the academy class. He made his pit stop a lap earlier than everybody else. I'll say that actually, he was about 3 laps earlier than everybody else. Third place in class at the minute is Craig Schill, so even after his damage earlier, he got the car fixed and he's back out there putting the times in, pushing hard. The orange, of course, the colour of the wonderful marshals of the world. Mark Van Dalen is back in the pits, so maybe Mark has underfueled it. 4 laps to go after this one, and it's still Tobias Olsen with a 5-second lead over his teammate Alex Jonsson, who then has 7.7 seconds over Dominicas Javaisha. Only 7/10 of a second, though, ahead of Nick Shermans. So these two very close together indeed. Nick is getting closer and closer, in fact, so soon he might be able to do something about this. Mark Fletcher has got past Greg Parmenter for 18th, but that's all academic now. Mark is missing out on a lot of points here, but it was his own mistake earlier. Just shows you how contrasting a night can be. You know, you have an all-right first race and then win the feature race, and then it comes to the final race of the night, a longer race with a pit stop, and a mistake on lap 1 wipes a lot of the field out. It's a very, very cruel sport, is motorsport, and Mark has been reminded of that once again tonight. I'll have to keep an eye on where he finishes, because I'm sure we'll have a chat with him after the race. But either way, Nick Sherman's now getting gradually closer to Dominicas Javaisha. There's just a few corners here where Dominicas is a bit faster, but the slipstream is going to help Nick stay with him. Let's see what it looks like up towards Blanchimont. He's going to follow as closely in Dominicas' footsteps as he can. Gaining the odd 100th of a second. It's more the top speed stuff like this now where he's really gaining time. Through the bus stop. That looks nice and tidy from Nick. Oh, it's a little bit wobbly on the exit. The gap goes up slightly to nearly 7/10. It was down to 6/10 on the way into the bus stop. And that is the gap live then, as you see it now. There's Fletcher coming out of the pits. That's not what we want to see. Mark's going to get out of the way. That's going to help our battle box graphic in the bottom right. Not quite sure. That's showing you the I rating gain they would get if they finished where they were. I don't really want to see that. There you go. You can have the car number, their top speed, their license, their pit lap. All options I've not really played with before, to be fair. Very, very close though, these two. You can see the gap getting bigger and smaller, corner after corner. Keeps changing. Nick really closed in actually down through Brochet there, through Jackie Hick's corner. It's staying within a couple of thousandths through some of these corners as well. That's the incredible bit. It blipped to less than half a second for a moment there. Now, if Nick gets close enough, he's going to be able to slipstream him up towards Blanchimont. Oh, it looked like very understeery little car there into Piff Path, clips the curb, that gets the back end out a little bit, drags the inside wheel in. Through the double right, back up towards Blanchimont. Now he's half a second back, closer than he was before. There you go, now you can see the gap coming down, look at that. And as he gets closer and closer, the slipstream gets stronger and stronger. He's gained a 10th just about now. Can stay flat. Oh, the dirty air not actually helping him there, but look at it now, suddenly he's backed off slightly. Backs off a little bit there, does Nick Shermans. Maybe doesn't want to force Dominicas into a fight yet. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Mark Fletcher staying with them, but of course a lap down. Hans Polmans is 5th, Ben Hoffman's 6th, and Tim Rutten 7th. That's the top 3 in consistency. Then it's Jakub Szymanski still leading the academy class. And then Craig Schill, who is 13th, is 3rd in that class, on for his own podium. Silas Craig Vrolic is behind Phil Reagan. We'll keep an eye on him. And again, we will look at the battle box between these two. Silas, I imagine, will just go straight for this. The speed difference there from the slipstreaming as they come down into the bus stop. Around the outside in the first part, lovely stuff by Silas. To be fair, I don't think that there was too much of a fight there from Mr. Reagan. But Dominicas holds on to 3rd place for the moment as Victor Blick tries to be the backseat director. I appreciate that. And Mark Fletcher's just got a front row seat to watch 2 guys fight here when he can't really do much about it. He just needs to sort of sit and wait, unfortunately for Mark. It's a very tough way for his evening to go. 7/10 of a second now, this gap once again. So over this current lap, Dominicas has just opened that gap up a little bit more. Like I said before, as long as the slipstream is there, underfueled here, around the same amount of time as everybody else, so I'm not quite sure what his issue is there. Down the hill we go then towards Puon. As Alex Jonsson and Tobias Olsson, the 2 Swedes at the front, just in the other way around. Absolutely on it, and Shermans has lost out to Polmans. Polmans goes up to 4th. That's Olsson. The win at Spa Francorchamps, an epic drive tonight. A real strong comeback from that second race as well, where it all went wrong with this man, Alex Jonsson, who finishes 2nd. Dominicas Zawisza is going to get a podium. Nick Shermans has really fallen by the wayside at the end of this race, but Hans Polmans is going to take the win in the consistency class. Brilliant performance by him. Ben Hoffman, more strong racecraft, to finish in 2nd. Tim Rutten is going to get a podium in class as well, and Nick Shermans, I think, has run out of fuel, has he? Either way, that's a neon car finishing in front of him. Tobias Olsson and the boys doing some donuts. Jakub Szymanski wins the academy class. Great stuff from him. Adam Osiowala is going to finish in 2nd place, and then Craig Schill is going to round out the podium in the class. We have a look at some of the shenanigans here then going on at the front of the field. And it is Alex Jonsson having a bit of a laugh with it. We'll have a look back at the checkered flag so you can see Tobias Olsson take the flag in dominant fashion. Really has been an incredible performance again tonight by Tobias. It's exactly what we saw from him in the A playoffs. Untouchable, really. The second race was because of the damage with Alex, but the 2 of them worked together in that second race to just disappear from the field. ruining that set of rear tyres. And that is a very, very happy Tobias Olsen. Let's have a look at some results then. Olsen from Jonsson from Zerweische. Fantastic podium indeed. Hans Polmans finishes 4th. Ben Hoffman 5th and Tim Rutten in 6th. That's the top 3 in consistency. I hope you can hear me. Nick Schermans is 7th ahead of Wayne Palmer in 8th. Then it's Jakub Szymanski 9th. Adam Osiawala is 10th. With Karn Nguyen 11th. Mark van Dalen finishes 12th. Okay. Craig Schill rounds out the podium in Academy 13th. Silas Craig Vrolik is 14th. Then it's Phil Reagan, Kevin Zemstra, and Bart Delman and Mark Fletcher 1 lap down. Greg Parmenter as well, and Robert Odoms. Stephen Grabowski and Ross Nicholson did not finish the race. Well, it's much more chill now on the circuit, and we will welcome in a number of drivers to have a quick chat with us. And to be honest with you, one of the very first drivers that I would like to speak to is somebody that we've not had a chat with in too long, to be honest. Mr. Olsen, who, to be honest, we saw a lot more form from you tonight that we used to see in the A playoffs. What do you think was the key to that one, buddy?
I don't really know. I just approached the races a little more calm, maybe. But it was that.
And what have you made? Thank you very much. Not a problem, Tobias. Thank you very much for your time. We will see you again soon, mate. Going to bring in, just scored himself a class podium in the thick of some battles, no matter whereabouts on track he was. Tim Rutten joins me in the box. Tim, that was, I mean, especially for your countrymen there, you always seem to be fighting a Dutchman on the track there. I bet you enjoyed that one.
I really did enjoy that one. There was some hard fighting, some tough fighting as well, especially in the first 2 races. It was scary at some moments, that's for sure. But I enjoyed myself out there, played it really nicely throughout the races tonight.
And what do you make? Not really a circuit that you would think suits them speed-wise, but some of the faster sections of this circuit demand a lot of concentration, don't they?
Like, especially when it comes to race-wise, you can pull off a lot of nice overtakings pretty much everywhere in the circuit, as we have seen tonight.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of action going on. Talk to me about that first lap incident, because we're about to see it in slow motion now, and I'll jump on board with you for it. But when you saw smoke and you saw cars all over the place, what was the initial?
Well, the first, first I just came out of no name corner, and the first thing I just did is looking at the smoke. I saw only one car at that point. I was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Then I saw more smoke and more carnage to push through. Well, with all the carnage, it was really hard to find a gap, and as you can see on the stream, I was a little bit of touchy there.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah,
it
was really hard to avoid that one, but I'm glad I got out all right there. Could have been a lot worse.
An exciting night of racing. Obviously, we go into the finals now for
season. It is a really nice track, and there's a lot of action. But just like Spa and Silverstone, it will be a lot of drafting. So it will be interesting to see how it will fare in the corners.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange circuit for these sorts of cars, but either way, it's going to be exciting, I reckon. Anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go, mate?
Yeah, Hans Polmans, I mean, just fair play. He did everything all right this evening. Some nice action, some nice fighting, respectful at most, so enjoyed it.
Cracking stuff, mate. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Tim. Great to speak to you, buddy, and we'll see you next time round.
Thank you again, Jas.
No worries. Cheers. And one final interview, we will drag in Mr. Osiawala, who finished second in class in that race. 8 places gained, mate. That was quite the race for you, that one.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jas. I basically tried to play the safe card, try to don't spin anywhere like in the first race, and I guess it's paid off.
Well, yeah, it seemed to, mate. It seemed to, but it's not always the easiest place to string a lap together. A lot of the high-speed parts of this circuit, they can just catch even the best drivers out around here, can't they?
Yeah, especially the curbs on some of the turns. You feel quite safe, and then suddenly you are the other way around. So, just as you said, it's not the easiest track on the iRacing.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's I mean, I was saying to Tobias before, it's usually a circuit that a lot of people have done a lot of laps on because of things like the Spa 24 Hours, and it's popular in a lot of GT series and so on. Do you think that does help people get more? Have to learn it every time you come back here, dependent on the car, of course.
Well, for sure. It is as you said, but I think there is mostly some kind of ceiling level where you have when you remember what do you have to do, and then you just have to practice a little bit with the every setup you have to use. But basically the sorry for that one.
That's all right.
I'm still thinking about the race.
That's all good, mate. It's all good. I know how much these sorts of races take it out of you, and it's a very busy night of racing for you guys. So very well done on your respective results. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Well, yes, I would like to shout out Khan for helping me out with my sim racing career, you could say it. He invited me to this series and basically to the iRacing. So awesome. Shout out to him, and I hope he will get a good result at the last two events.
Smashing. Well, great stuff, Adam. Nicely said, mate. Good to speak to you, buddy. And we will see you again very, very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, bye.
Cheers. Lovely stuff there from Adam Osiwala, and just because he is pestering me, we're going to bring in my mate Hans Polmans, who got a class win in the end there. Hansy, it didn't look like the easiest of nights for you though. Talk us through it.
It was one of the best races in a while, actually. So tight, the first and the second race. The third one was a little bit less exciting, but I got a head start because of the incident, and I saw a gap and just went for it. I saw Ben and Tim going further and further back, so that was my luck, because they both are a bit quicker than me. I just like the battle, and I just don't give up, and I don't think that's something they expect.
Well, that's it. Even if the sort of beginning of these races don't particularly go well, it's all about how you bounce back from things like that, isn't it? Especially when you've got a night with 3 races in it as well.
Yeah, indeed. The first race was nearly over for me because Ben spun in, I think, the second right after the camel. And I just barely avoided him, so it could be over then. And it's such easy to damage the car on the Formula 3 one, so there's no in between. It's either drivable or not drivable at all. Yeah,
definitely. These things are very, very fragile. But 4th place overall, fantastic result for you. A lot of points in the championship. How are you feeling about going into the finals now then, with Red Bull Ring up first?
Very excited, actually. I don't particularly like the Red Bull Ring, but I think it's going to be some fantastic racing like we saw today as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Plenty of slipstream in there as well. Some big dive bombs on the brakes. It's what everyone wants to see. Either way, Hansy, great to speak to you again, mate. Good results. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, as always, our entire team and Viraco, our sponsor, for sponsoring us and then making sure we can do this.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you very much, mate. Absolute pleasure as always, and I look forward to seeing how you get on in the finals. I'll see you soon.
Yep, bye-bye.
Cheers. Well, everybody, that unfortunately is it for tonight. It's been a fantastic night of racing. Tobias Olsson back to his old ways to round out the playoffs. How is he going to get on in the finals? How's everybody going to get on in the finals? Who's going to survive and who's going to make the most of the traffic? Find out next week with me, Chaz Draycott, as we go for rounds 13 and 14 of the 2021 Season 4 of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 series. For now, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you again very, very soon. Good night.